WrestleVotes recently reported that this year's Survivor Series event will celebrate The Undertaker. Additionally, the report stated that the Deadman will possibly be making an appearance at the WWE pay-per-view too. Although Undertaker won't be wrestling at the event, Survivor Series 2020 could mark the beginning of a comeback storyline for him leading up to next year's WrestleMania. The Undertaker announced his retirement in the critically acclaimed WWE Network series, Undertaker: The Last Ride. His last match was also an overwhelmingly well-received cinematic clash against AJ Styles which occurred at WrestleMania, earlier this year. The Phenom also said, "Never say never," to a WWE return, even though it has become apparent that the Boneyard match was a great farewell, in retrospect. If he returns to WWE in November, here are 5 ways WWE could book The Undertaker for Survivor Series. Number 5. The Fiend attacks The Undertaker at WWE Survivor Series. When WrestleVotes first reported that The Undertaker might be making an appearance at WWE Survivor Series, several fans immediately mentioned that The Fiend could be the most intriguing opponent for him. The reason is simple: Bray Wyatt's evil alter ego has impressed the audience in terms of the complexity of his character. And since the 90s, The Undertaker has been the most fascinating WWE gimmick. The storyline practically writes itself. Both characters also have supernatural roots, so a potential match between The Fiend and Undertaker sounds intriguing. The Fiend never forgets those who have wronged Bray Wyatt in the past, and The Undertaker is one of them. Wyatt and Undertaker collided at WrestleMania 31, where the latter emerged victorious. At Survivor Series, if The Undertaker returns as the Unholy Trinity character and reflects on his 30-year WWE career, The Fiend could attack him to set up a future clash. For what it's worth, if Michelle McCool stands by her husband's side at Survivor Series, Alexa Bliss could get involved as well. There's no telling how an actual in-ring match between The Undertaker and Bray Wyatt may look in 2020-21, but there is very little that can go wrong if Wyatt's creativity collides with The Undertaker's aura in the ultimate cinematic match. Number 4. The Undertaker interrupts Roman Reigns in a one-off scenario and acknowledges him as the ultimate top guy in modern-day WWE. The Last Ride documentary took an extensive look at Roman Reigns and The Undertaker's WWE match from WrestleMania 33. The man behind The Undertaker's character, Mark Calloway, was embarrassed by his performance. While WrestleMania 33 was a pivotal point in the Deadman's search for the perfect finale, both Reigns and Undertaker have gained each other's respect in real life since then. On WWE TV, Roman Reigns has earned unanimous acclaim for his heel turn so far in 2020, and it would be interesting to see what would happen if The Undertaker were to come face to face with this version of Roman Reigns. A rematch doesn't make a lot of sense since the Deadman has already put Reigns over in the past. However, it would be a genuinely satisfying moment if The Undertaker appreciates Roman Reigns' new attitude, as well as the Tribal Chief's pursuits in becoming a true top dog by standing above the system. The Undertaker doesn't need to kickstart another WWE storyline every time he appears on TV after the Boneyard match. Sometimes, it's just nice to reflect on how much things have changed in the past few years and to point the way for the future. Number 3. The Undertaker cuts his retirement promo in the same WWE event where he had debuted back in 1990. Fans know about The Undertaker's infamous on-screen debut during the 1990 edition of Survivor Series, where the Deadman was revealed as the mystery partner of Ted DiBiase's $1 Million Team. So it's only fitting that if there were a way to solidify The Undertaker's 30-year-long arc, Survivor Series is where all things must end. After the Last Ride documentary, it's possible that if The Undertaker were to make a return, he would do so under the guise of his Unholy Trinity character, an amalgamation of the Deadman, the American Badass, and Mark Calloway himself. This would also make it easier for Undertaker to cut a retirement promo without having to worry about maintaining the Deadman character. A retirement speech sounds like the most obvious direction for an Undertaker return at this stage, and that may turn out to be the inevitable outcome at Survivor Series 2020. Number 4. The Undertaker intimidates Big Jordan and teases an in-ring match against AJ Styles at WWE WrestleMania 37. AJ Styles paired up with Jordan Omogbian, aka Big Jordan, during the season premiere episode of WWE Raw in October. When it comes to in-ring prowess, Styles is one of the only few people who can carry The Undertaker in an actual match at this stage. Due to the pandemic, AJ Styles vs. The Undertaker didn't take place in front of a live crowd at this year's WrestleMania, but things might change if a live audience were present for WrestleMania 37. Despite the Boneyard match's success, fans have contemplated what would be the outcome if the Phenomenal One were to wrestle The Undertaker in an actual in-ring match in WWE. Whatever WWE has planned for AJ Styles at this year's Survivor Series event, The Undertaker could interrupt Styles and his bodyguard, Big Jordan, to tease a big rematch at next year's WrestleMania. Better yet, the Phenomenal One's cockiness might prompt him to interrupt The Undertaker during an event that is supposed to celebrate the latter's 30th anniversary in WWE. A confrontation between The Undertaker and a 7'3" tall Big Jordan would also be interesting, even if Jordan vs. Undertaker is not the match at hand here. Number 1. The Undertaker calls out John Cena for a WrestleMania match at WWE Survivor Series. There are numerous ways WWE could bring back John Cena as a different character after being potentially changed by Bray Wyatt at WrestleMania 36. The leader of the Cenation fell prey to Bray Wyatt's mind games in a cinematic match. Cena hasn't appeared on WWE TV since then, although he has earned some momentum outside of WWE, in Hollywood. The Undertaker could be an important catalyst for John Cena's comeback. In the storyline leading up to their 2 minutes, 37 seconds encounter at WrestleMania 34, Cena was the one begging the dead man to come back for one more match. WWE could flip the script at Survivor Series, with The Undertaker calling out John Cena for a potential rematch at next year's WrestleMania. Dave Meltzer reported the following in John Cena and Undertaker's WrestleMania 37 status. I think if there are no fans, then there's no reason to bring Cena back. If there are fans, you know come WrestleMania season they're gonna talk to John Cena and they're gonna talk to Undertaker. I mean it's just how it is no matter what they say now. A lot of times those guys come back. If The Undertaker's in-ring condition isn't up to the mark around WrestleMania season, WWE could even book a cinematic match between him and John Cena at the event.